folks, being a highly focused investor, I equate most of my success to finding new emerging markets and picking the best stocks that come out of it. I did it with Tesla, I did it with the MJ Markets and Canopy Growth Corp, and I'm trying to do the same thing right now with the psychedelic industry. So what we're going to do is go over the top 5 psychedelic companies, and I'm going to try and explain to you why MindMed is by far the best pick of the bunch, because trust me, this is going to be a highly speculative, highly risky industry, and I'm going to try and offer some clarity. So in my transparency, do me a favor, hit that like button and let's jump right into this. Investors, I like it. Now we're going to start with the smallest market cap of the bunch, which is HAVN Life Science here, guys. Trading up pretty healthy. I mean, this was a 60-cent stock when it IPO'd, and right now it's sitting up 34.43%. And just taking a look at their website, guys, this is by far my least favorite. It's weird how when you look at the smaller cap of the bunch, they're just the most unprofessional. Because if we go onto their website here, guys, the first thing that was a red flag to me is this. They just throw out absurd numbers. It says $1 trillion lost annually in global workforce productivity due to depression and anxiety. Now, I have no idea how the hell you're supposed to quantify how much money is being lost based on depression. Because I can tell you how much depression drugs cost, I can tell you how much the government is spending on the opioid crisis, but I don't know why you throw out these absurd numbers like you think it's going to equate to value in your company. Now, as far as I can tell, guys, I don't really know what this company is exactly doing. All the research I did this morning, this is about the gist of the information that I could find, and they're talking about the global functional food market is expected to reach 34.3 billion US by 2024. Don't know how that relates, but they're saying that the market is studied to experiencing huge demand for reishi and cordyceps, and this is why HAVN Life has decided to pursue formulation with these mushrooms. So I'm going to presume that those are the psychedelic kind. Of completely random chart. This says it's in the billions, but really it's in the millions, and they're projecting out what, the sale of magic mushrooms? I'm not 100% sure. And just taking a look at the roadmap, the only thing that is clear to me is the fact that they've received first Health Canada license, and I'm going to presume that is just to grow these things. But moving forward down their timeline, guys, they don't explain anything, and somehow by 2021 they're going to be manufacturing and distributing at scale. For what though? Are they going to do it for clinical trials? Are they trying to sell the drugs themselves? Are they trying to sell to other companies? I have no idea, but this company does not have a very clear business model on their website. Now, taking a look at Champagne Brands, small cap psychedelic company, and just taking a look, they don't offer anything on their website except for a 1-minute video that really just talks about ketamine and not actually what the company is doing, but you can take a quick listen.
I'm Roger McIntyre, and I'm Chief Executive Officer of AltMed. The reason why we decided to look at psychedelics and related agents for people who have depression and related disorders was very simple. The great majority, 75 to 80% of people, don't respond sufficiently to the treatments that were out there. Ketamine is the first treatment in 25 years of my career where patients, in fact, are getting that on a regular basis and getting it within a few days. So we are already a clinic, over 30 staff, seeing lots of patients who are getting better receiving ketamine, and we do this in a private delivery system and a private model that's already in fact been revenue generated. With the capability of not just developing new psychedelics and related compounds, but we have the ability to put these compounds into new delivery IP potential platforms that we can in fact make available for clinicians to use, not just across the country, but internationally.
This is why these OTC stocks are just so bloody risky. They just keep throwing out these absurd numbers. Like I said, as far as I can tell, they're focused on ketamine. Really just not giving enough detail on this website for me to even begin to give them a bold thesis here. So let's move into the upper part of this industry. I just wanted to fly through those guys because I almost get aggravated trying to find data on their website. It's kind of absurd to me, like how they put that together. So taking a look at Field Trip Health. This is getting into some of the bigger caps. This one's worth just under $200 million, trading up 80% year to date. And just taking a look, let's try and figure out what this company does, because at least their website is a little more transparent. But psychedelic therapies that bring you to life. And just getting into this, guys, how does it work? Well, Same thing like the last one we looked at. We're kind of just focusing on those first step treatments, which again isn't with actual psychedelics, it's with ketamine because it's the first drug that was actually legalized. Johnson & Johnson's one of the few selling it, and it's currently the only drug they're using as a treatment. And I've gone through this website a little bit, guys, and just giving you guys a really quick insight into the event presentation on basically where they're currently at with these psychedelics, guys. They kind of came up with some kind of synthetic version that's a little bit more potent. I don't understand why when the stuff that is available already like functions and they know it works. But anyways, their timeline to actually getting this to like say any kind of FDA approval is miles away ahead of something like a MindMed, because we can see basically until Q4 of 2021 is just when their phase 1 trials begin. So again, guys, this one's fallen behind a little bit, and it's going to be a little bit more of a longer timeline to get ahead. Taking a look at one that many of you recommend to me called Numinus Wellness Inc., which again is one of these ones that's kind of trading down year to date. A lot of people have been kind of throwing this one at me, and they're saying they're addressing the universal desire to heal and be well. And just taking a look, guys, this one compared to the other ones, as far as I can tell, is a license by Health Canada to produce extract psilocybin from mushrooms. So this one specifically actually is a little bit more of a clear business model against all the other ones that I've currently looked at. And as far as I can tell, guys, what they're trying to do is basically committed to helping customers create safe and reliable products through analytical services, full spectrum testing, and contact research. Something tells me that this company is just the one that's doing some research, and they're not actually a company that's trying to expand into developing their own products. And again, no real clear exact timeline here, guys. As far as I can tell, based off their event presentation, we got a little bit of going on here. February 20th, they closed a $6.8 million finance, skipped to June 2020, received amendment to grow psilocybin mushrooms. October 2020 completed first harvest of psilocybin mushrooms, and then their projection moving forward is in 2021, natural psilocybin research and development, mid-2021, integrative treatment model development, and then at the end of their little progress chart here, it says compassionate access protocol implementation for MDMA and psilocybin. Something tells me they're just going to be focused on the manufacturing and distribution to other companies that are going to utilize these drugs. But again, no real clear timeline. We're not talking about FDA approval. We're really not talking about where this company wants to be in the future. Now, I haven't deep dived aggressively, but I'm telling you guys, this should have been well able for me to be able to understand in 5 minutes of just scanning through the event presentation, and none of these companies have successfully done that. So though many of you suggest these companies to me, you like these other companies, they're not great companies, guys. So let's get into the only two psychedelic companies that I can show you for particular reasons why they're better than the rest. Obviously talking about MindMed here, which is the second largest cap psychedelic company. And just by going on their website, guys, within minutes, I can just scroll around and see everything that I need to see. On the first page, I get to see where they're moving with their psychedelic trials. We can see everything they're working on from ADHD, depression, anxiety, and we can see where they're actually at, and they have a timeline to getting this stuff resolved. I mean, their first clinical trials are going to be up for FDA approval sometime around 2024. I don't think I really need to break this down much further, guys. It is my pick of the entire industry. I've made tons of videos again and again, made lots of money, been in this for quite some time now. So I'll leave the links if you want to do your own research to the other videos I made. So let's move on to the largest of the bunch, and by far the only psychedelic company right now that trades on a major stock exchange. Hopefully MindMed's going to be getting there very soon, but we got to talk about Compass Pathways, which is the only other psychedelic stock I would recommend. But the only reason that I'm not diving down into it, well, I'm going to explain to you that in a second. But just taking a look, this one's a Europe-based company that is focusing on therapeutic trials where essentially people actually come in, they're going to have to go through an experience. I don't know how fruitful that business model is going to be. I know it is going to benefit the individuals that are going to be taking these treatments, but the problem is there's no real quick way to mass scale that, because obviously you need therapists. These trials are like a 3-day ordeal, I believe. And when you're doing these drugs, I mean, they're like an 8-hour experience, guys. So it's going to be a very costly treatment. So going on their website, guys, and just looking at the current treatments they have, they're highly focused on depression. They're not really trying to expand into all the other psychedelic markets because they believe this one's going to offer the most benefit. It's probably going to be the path of least resistance to getting it into the public market. But being only focused on depression right now and having no real pipeline to the larger market is what's going to hinder this company the most, which is why, even though it is the largest company trading at, what is it at right now? We're talking about what, $1.7 billion right now. It's definitely going to be one of the better of the bunch, but it just doesn't make the top of the list for this industry for me to be picking the stock or wanting to diversify it in general when you have MindMed focusing on the broadest spectrum of this market, guys. They are approaching the largest drug segments, trying to hit everything they can, which usually is something that I don't recommend in a company because primarily you want them to be highly focused like Compass is and trying to scale into one industry and kind of capitalize and be the first to market. But in this specific industry, when we know the broader spectrum capabilities of this drug, it's nice to know at least MindMed is hitting them all. They They have all these clinical trials under the way. They're going to be focusing on the opioid crisis, anxiety, depression, ADHD, and just I wish these other companies were more broadly talking about it and actually showing how they're getting through these phase trials and actually trying to approach these markets aggressively. So this is why MindMed is sitting at the top of my list against all of these other companies. And as I told you guys, when it comes to these highly speculative risk plays, I can only tell you what I'm personally doing because I'm not obviously a financial advisor, but I've found so much success in my investing career from literally finding these emerging markets and picking the best companies of the bunch. Now, this is where I'm going to ask you guys to rebuttal me. Do you think there is another psychedelic company right now that is better poised than MindMed? I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below, but in light of this, stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you guys tomorrow.